So, let's talk about those big, messy problems, the ones that feel impossible to solve. If you've ever felt stuck, this is for you. We're going to unpack a really powerful roadmap for critical thinking called the STEAM Investigative Process.
You know that feeling, right? You see something in your community, a huge issue that just needs to be fixed, but the sheer scale of it is, well, overwhelming. It's that feeling of wanting to jump in and help, but having absolutely no idea what the first step should be.
And we're not talking about small stuff here. We're talking about the huge, systemic challenges that communities everywhere are facing. Things like a local economy that's struggling, infrastructure that's literally crumbling, or the very real impacts of a changing environment. These are the big, tangled issues that you can't solve without a really clear plan of attack. So what's the plan? Well, it's a framework called the STEAM Investigative Process. And what I really love about this definition is that it's not just some checklist of things to do. It's about developing a mindset. It's a tool designed to completely change how you approach problems, right from the very beginning.
And get this process wasn't dreamed up in some academic ivory tower. It was forged in the real world, in military logistics, by its creator, Dana Jewel Harris, an 8-year U.S. Army veteran. Now, just think about that for a second. Military logistics is all about managing incredibly complex systems under immense pressure, with limited resources, to get a very specific job done. That background gives this whole process a practical, no-nonsense edge. It's built for the real world.
So, what does this roadmap actually look like? Well, it's a 5-step journey. Research, design, plan, coordinate, and evaluate. Each step builds on the last, taking us all the way from what is even happening here to, wow, look at the difference we made. Let's dive in. Okay, first up, you put on your detective hat. Before you can even think about solving a problem, you have to truly understand it. This stage is all about gathering the facts, digging for clues, and fighting that urge we all have to just jump straight to a solution. The fundamental question you're asking here is simple, but it's absolutely crucial. What is the real problem, and what's causing it? It's all about digging past the symptoms you see on the surface to find the actual root of the issue. And answering that question means you got to get your hands dirty. You have to get out there and explore your community, kind of like a journalist on a big story. You identify the key socio-economic factors at play, and you start to map out what's helping the situation and what's making it worse. This is where you gather all your evidence.
All right, once you've gathered all your clues, you can't stay a detective forever. It's time to switch hats. Now you become the architect. You're moving from investigation to creation.
The architect's main question is all about resourcefulness. How do I use the things I already have to solve this? This isn't about wishing for a magic wand. It's about creating a realistic, achievable blueprint for a solution.
This is literally the blueprint phase. First, you brainstorm a solution that's designed to have the biggest possible impact. Then, you get really practical. What specific skills are we going to need to pull this off? And finally, you take a hard inventory of the resources you need, the people, the tools, the money.
Okay, with your blueprint in hand, it's time to become the project manager. A great idea is one thing, but a solid plan is what actually makes it happen.
And what does every good project manager obsess over? Time. It's the one resource you can't get more of. So the key question here sets your timeline and creates a sense of urgency. How much time do we actually have to get this done?
So, you take that big, maybe kinda complicated idea, and you untangle it. You create a detailed action plan, breaking the whole project down into a series of small, manageable tasks and activities. You make sure every single resource you have is being used in the smartest way possible.
Now the plan is set. It's go time. And for that, you need to step up and be the team leader. Because let's be real, no major problem is ever solved by one person alone.
This step is all about people. You have to ask yourself, who are the champions that are going to help me make this happen? Who are the allies, the teammates, the supporters who will bring this plan to life?
As the team leader, your #1 job is clarity. You assign specific tasks and responsibilities, so every single person knows exactly what their role is. You set firm, clear deadlines to keep everyone moving forward. And then, you hit the launch button. You get the team moving and take action. This is the moment the plan becomes reality.
But wait, the work isn't done just because the project is underway. This final step might be the most important one for long-term success. You have to become the analyst.
The analyst is always looking to improve, always asking, what do we need to change to make this even better next time? This is the feedback loop that drives real, meaningful progress. It's how you learn and grow.
And this really all comes down to accountability.
You have to present proof of what you did. By creating reports, sharing content, and analyzing the data, you can actually measure your impact and answer that one huge question. Did it work? So let's just pull back for a second and put it all together. This is the entire process right here. It's this beautiful logical chain of questions, moving you from identifying the problem to creating a solution, from planning to mobilizing people, and finally to learning and improving. See how each step just flows right into the next? So you might be thinking, okay, this framework sounds good in theory, but does this kind of structured approach actually deliver results? Well, the data is pretty clear. Yes, it absolutely does. A whopping 88% of people who learn this way say they can apply these skills to other parts of their life. Over 3/4 report better problem-solving abilities. This isn't just an abstract theory. It's a method that builds real-world skills you can actually use.
You know, this entire process is really built on a simple but incredibly powerful philosophy. Do better, think bigger. It's a call to action, to not just put a Band-Aid on a problem, but to aim for truly transformative solutions.
Which brings us right to the final, most important question, the one this entire roadmap has been leading to. Now that you have the tools, you have the mindset, and you have the process, what problem will you solve first?